The struggle is real, everyone. Hello, my name is Brian. I'd like to welcome everybody to another episode of the Broken Chains podcast. First off, I'd like to let everybody know that today's episode, if my computer will actually keep up, the Broken Chains podcast is proudly sponsored today by Change to Change Leadership LLC, where pain is turned into purpose and struggles become strength. We're helping individuals break cycles, rebuild identity, and leading people to purpose is their passion. So we've kind of had a lot going on around here. And it isn't like it's getting any, life is still lifing, and technology is still doing technology. So first, I want to go ahead and welcome my co-host, my partner in crime, my sister Barbara.
Hi.
Hey, sis.
How are you?
Yeah, I think because we have I'm doing good, but I think because we have so many people on here right now, it's trying to catch up and buffer. So what
Yeah,
I
it's
may
like
have to
really
do
good.
until I figure this out, I might have to I might have to switch people off into the sitting room and then bring y'all back one at a time. But I have to bring somebody on here first. So, this is my mini me. This is my clone. This is People ask me what is my why sometimes, and this is one reason why I say this is my why. I can honestly say I have not always been the best father due to my addiction and my lifestyle, but I am truly blessed to have an amazing daughter who looks like me but prettier, talks like me more savagely, but just as intelligent when it comes to her personal growth and who she is. So, my baby, Savannah, aka
Aw.
Itty Bitty. What's good, baby?
Life be lifing,
If it,
still yesterday was yesterday was a day, it's just still trying to, as you said, God had me yesterday, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So next, we're going to go ahead and bring our guest today. Hopefully, technology will work with us. God, you are the orchestrator and the author. So this one, I'm going to say something, but I don't want it to come out rude the way a lot of people take it. But I'm used to being a stray. I had a friend of mine's mom pretty much adopted a lot of us in the neighborhood when my mother was work. And she used to say we were her band of strays because there was a whole bunch of us. And, I get called Papa Bear a lot because there's a lot of people who gravitates toward me. But I met this one and I looked at her and then I looked at Savannah and then I looked at her again. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know cloning was legal because they act alike. They've been through some of the same struggles, but I'm glad that they found each other because I really do believe, and I think it just kicked her off. Tell me how technology sucks today. I don't like it.
Look, technology seems to not like us, okay?
You know what I mean? So until she comes back, I guess Savannah, you're actually there. She goes. Look at her. Let's see. Let's see if she made it. Let's see if Kayla is actually here.
I am. I was having technical difficulties. I couldn't hear a word you were saying.
I'm seeing that.
But I'm
All
back
right.
and I can hear you now.
Sober minute, Miss Barbara, Miss Savannah. I'm gonna sit y'all in the waiting room and see if I can control the buffering for a
Okay.
second. So let me remove you and let me remove you and see
I
what
can't hear you
happens.
again. Hold on. I got to
Greetings
refresh
inside.
the page.
Oh my God. I need you people stationary on Wi-Fi. Is this what my life is gonna be like?
You know, Dad, I think that that life gonna give you some challenges, and you're sober now, so they have to get creative with their challenges. Okay.
I guess. But you know what else? We're gonna make it do what it do.
Oh
So
yeah.
I guess I'm gonna be interviewing everybody. So let's just see how this works. Oh my God, she devices not connected. Kayla has entered the studio. Let's see what it does. I think this has turned into a technical comedy show. Hello,
Oh,
mine's
totally.
child. Now I can't hear you.
I think it's like if you try to do it not on Wi-Fi, it's not gonna work.
Well, I've had people do it on data. So this is what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna remove Kayla. And if Kayla can hear me, we're gonna schedule Kayla for another day. See, this is
Yeah.
Is it just me, or am I the only one finding this humorous today?
Oh, it's great. You gotta find the
Not
humor in everything.
listen,
So I
just like the
guess
last
you
show.
two lovely ladies will be my guests.
Glad to
Yeah,
be here.
yeah.
I'm gonna be the best guest you ever gonna have, right?
You are definitely my child. So I had these wonderful questions, and technology is not wanting to be with me today. So this is what we're gonna do, Savannah. I'm gonna put you in the holding. You go talk to Kayla and tell her we'll reschedule her when she's able to actually be on Wi-Fi.
All right, I'll send her a text.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's how we gonna do it because this is like hello, my sister.
Hello. The
How are
struggle is
you?
real.
Most definitely.
Well, it's been a eventful couple of weeks. So I told
Okay.
you that I'd made it all the way to the state capitol with just one post from
Okay.
Facebook. Um, I got a hold of End Homelessness Vermont
Yeah, I saw
and did
that.
an intake. Yep.
Okay.
Um,
How'd that go?
I did an intake, so hopefully when my voucher runs out in June, I will either have placement or they can keep me here.
Okay. And
This
what
weekend
is
was a
that?
little struggling.
Okay. I see that. It's been like that all the way around, sis. It has been like that all the way around. So,
Well,
I've
Sean
learned
and
in
I
my
were laying here and we're like, why does it sound like somebody is brawling outside? And sure enough, it came across. I have this like community scanner on my phone,
Mhm.
and like 3 seconds later, it came through. Um, Group jumps individual at hotel, and I opened it up, and
Mhm.
Happened to be right outside.
Yeah, the struggle is really real. So let me see if this one will work this time with Mine's Child. Hello, Mine's Child.
Hello.
So I think what I'll do tonight is we're just gonna have a little couch session because I want people to see how when one thing happens to one person, I swear sometimes the people that are connected to them struggle just the same because it started last week. So first it was Kayla had to deal with her stuff, and then technology with Blaine, and then everybody's getting sick. Your cousin, my niece, had a tree fall through her home. And it's just been like, and then with Leah and the car accident, and then Savannah, you and your car accident. And I'm sitting there thinking today, and everybody asked how my weekend went, and I told them everything. And they were like, bruh, why are you at work today? And I'm like, who, me? I said, because no matter what happens in life, bills still come, electric companies still want their money, gas companies still want they cut, water bill sitting there is still is not going to go in somebody else's name. I still have to pay it. And still, I am still responsible for my responsibilities. And today I was teaching or facilitating a group on excuses. And I find my almost stinking thinking, my criminal addictive thinking was like, man, maybe you shouldn't have went in today. And then I had to catch that thought because struggles are going to come. They're going to continue to happen. And no matter what, you're still going to be responsible because gas company and electric company ain't worried about my daughter being in a car accident. Nobody's worried about if my sister Barbara is under the weather. They want, and that's how they want it to come. They want it to come like this, not like
Alabama
this.
baby.
So my question to each one of you, yeah. So my question to both of y'all with Barbara first, how do you deal with when the struggles start overlapping? How do you deal with your day?
Honestly, just like a car accident. I let go of the wheel and let it roll. Pray.
Like, what do you mean by that? Unpack that. What do you mean by just let go?
Not really just, well, I mean, let the day go. Like, if I know from the minute I wake up, if it's going to be one of those days where shit rolls downhill.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
and really, there's nothing that we can do about it except for let it go. Like, we can't fight it. We can't change, certain things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we can do is pray, thank God, and go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Savannah.
Sheer will. Okay, I order that stuff on Amazon Express shipping. Okay, I want that thing between 2 and 4 a.m. No, okay. No, because listen. Friday night, I had an asthma attack and I had to go to the hospital. And it didn't end up being fixed. Luckily, my wonderful father took my kids, so I was able to go back Saturday. And, dealing with all that and then finding out because I haven't spoken to this girl in a year. Like I haven't spoken to her in a year, and I got the message that I was her emergency contact still. And it's just, I was going for her. Like I like the past was null and void, and I was going to her. I was like, I'm gonna get to her. She could be mad at me. She can not want me there, but I'm gonna at least make sure she's okay. And then finding out when I woke up the next morning on Sunday that she had to have her arm amputated, that was just devastating. I'm sitting in church and I get the text that she made it through, and I just start sobbing, and it was just so overwhelming. I just got out of the hospital. I'm dealing with that because, like, it just felt like a sign. Because what are the odds that this girl that I have not seen or spoken to in a year still has me listed as her emergency contact? Like, it
Yes.
seemed like fate. And then I left church and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get something to eat. I'm going to drop my kids off and I'm going to go up there whether she wants to see me or not. And we go to Chili's, we're having a great time. My daughter's being my daughter, she's friggin' drinking salsa. She's drinking salsa through a straw out of a bowl. Okay. And we leave. We leave. We're driving down the street. I mean, this man even told me, it was his fault. Like he got impatient and he pulled out. And I hit him. I T-boned him. They tell you that there's one moment that can make or break you. And the sound that came out of my daughter is gonna haunt my nightmares. And I try to, stay calm and stuff, but no one wants to hear their kid, make that sound. And her being so small and,
Absolutely.
being so just tough and like, she gonna tell you how it is. She don't call me mommy, she calls me mama. And the sound that came out of her was soul shattering. And she called me mommy, you know? And I threw myself out that car, and the second her body touched mine, my knees gave out. Like it's like it was just so earth shattering. And then I'm trying so hard, and my boyfriend pulls my car over to the side, and he turns around and he looks at my son. My son's still playing on this phone, and he gonna turn the phone around and be like, "Can I still download this dinosaur game?" I'm like, "Yo, we just got in a car accident. Get out of the car." Like honestly, him doing that, like when you ask me why, like what do I do when I want to fall apart? I focus on them because they need me. Like Lily's still in diapers, they still need me to feed them and take them to school. Like I can't fall apart because if I fall apart, no one's going to take care of them. I'm their mom. They look to me to hold it together. So I draw my strength and my to keep going from them. Like when I went to church yesterday, I got up on stage and I told my testimony about how I was in a coma last year and almost died, and how I went down a really bad path, like, drugs and drinking a lot and sleeping around a lot. And it was just like trying to fill a void that I couldn't fill. And then I started going to church again, and I met Blaine, and he's so wonderful. And I started focusing on my kids, and I started collecting people who they didn't want anything from me. They just wanted to be near me. They just wanted to make sure I was okay. Cause like, as dad said that he wasn't the best father. And, we have grown since he got sober, and, I feel like, we're really working on our relationship, and he's been a very big rock for me. When I'm crying and just feel like I can't anymore, calling him when I'm falling behind and don't have money for something, he's there. He's always got, yeah, maybe sometimes he gonna bully me, but he's gonna make sure I got what I need. He gonna make sure to flick me in the forehead, but he gonna make sure I got what I need. And I'm a very firm believer that blood don't equal family, because I love my blood family, don't get me wrong,
Absolutely.
but I feel like my blood family doesn't love me the way that I love them. Like I feel like, and this is my feelings. It doesn't mean that it's true, because I don't want like people to be like, "Well,
Right.
why'd you say that?" My feelings, just because they're my feelings, don't mean they're true. They're true. I can
It's just
feel
like
that the
your opinion.
sky is pink. That does not mean the sky is pink, but that's how I feel. It's like opinions. And I just been surrounding myself with people who I can lean on, Kayla, dad, now Barbara, and my kids, and Blaine, just sometimes you can't do things for yourself. You have to do things for others. Like, because if I didn't know that my kids need me and leaned on their needing me, I probably would have just, because I feel like everybody's got an addiction. It doesn't always have to be drugs. My addiction is I harm myself. And, I don't want to go back to doing that. So sometimes focusing on my kids keeps me from falling back into that bad habit. So I just sheer will in my kids, honestly.
Okay. All right. So thank you for that because, I can't speak for a whole lot of people. I can only speak for I, me, and mine. For me, growing up without a father and a lot of the things that I went through from the time I was 6 to like 16 when my mom met my stepdad, I never really had a good representation. I had some really good role models. I had Uncle Fred, I had Uncle Earl, your mom's side of the family. But a lot of my family was distant. Everybody was either in Oklahoma or military or something like that. So, I had a rudimentary education when it came to fatherhood and taking on my own problems. And I think one reason why I am the way I am now is I stopped trying to build a relationship where I'm trying to make up for not being there as a dad. That shit done sailed. I already screwed that up. I wrecked that like the Titanic. However, I'm able to create a relationship as one parent to another, as a father having a connection with his daughter. And I think what works for us is we have that rule. When I'm over at Savannah's house, I don't run nothing. I'm just the lowly voice in the corner, voicing my opinion. But it's also the same way. And I think it's that mutual respect because, like, I try to tell all my family, I don't have any right to tell anybody how they should feel. I can tell them how I would like for them to feel. I love to sit there and tell Savannah that anytime something happens, I can snap my fingers and make it better. I wish I could tell Barbara, I wish I could tell you, man, look, everything's going to be all right. I just want you to feel like that. That's not for me to do because I wasn't created to orchestrate your feelings. I was just created to help connect with you so that the feelings that you're having are validated. I don't need to know why you feel the way you feel. I just need you to know that I see it. That I see that, Barbara, you weren't feeling it this weekend. I don't need to know why. I just want you to know I got you back, however you felt. Savannah, we ain't going to talk on camera how I got to you so fast. So I like my job. However, I can say that I learned to where it wasn't so much that I had to fix your problem. I just wanted to be there so you knew that I would be there because there's been plenty of times I've messed that all up. So when you called saying, hey, I said, call Amber. And what did she do? She went and got the kids. I got to you. And what did I say? We'll just get it to the house and we'll worry about it there. I just wanted you to know that I'm there. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is that I have to fix everything. I don't, because I wouldn't know how. But what I can do is support you. What I can do is inspire you. And what I can do is tell you how phenomenally proud I am of both of y'all, because both of y'all are dealing with some stuff. I tell people all the time, I am so glad God made me a male, because if he had made me a female,
I
I
gotta
could
use the
do
bathroom real quick. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back.
You tell me that's not my child.
That is your child.
But
110%. That is your.
but I've noticed, since I've been creating this it's, I don't want to call it an entourage. It's just a community of like-minded individuals like you, like Savannah, like the people in my recovery community, my friend Brian Putt, and all this other stuff. I'm blessed to where I have people in my life to where my feelings are validated. And that was something that I'm not used to having because I'm always used to people trying to fix my problem. Like there's this video
Right.
on YouTube called It's Not About the Nail. And there's a woman with a nail sticking out of her forehead. And she's talking about the pain, but the man is steadily sitting there trying to say, well, if you remove the nail, she's like, oh my God, it's not about the nail. You're always trying to fix stuff. And a lot of times, even in my personal recovery, it's not that I was wanting somebody to fix my problems. It was the fact that I just wanted you to admit, like Brian, I see you. I can't put myself in your shoes and see why you're doing this, but I do have some understanding. I'm empathetic of it. So a lot of times that's where we miss out, especially when people try to rationalize another person's feelings. I can sit here and tell you I'm having a good day. And you might have an idea of what that good is, but you will not truly know because you're not me. And when
Right.
people start trying to quantify someone else's feelings, 9 times out of 10, it's miscommunication. It's going to cause conflict or chaos, as usual. So here's the next question. This is a good one, especially for both of y'all, given everything that y'all both been through. We'll start with you first, Barbara. What is the most beneficial change you've made in your life since being sober?
Oh man.
I'm hitting y'all with the good ones now.
Yeah. I've changed everything about my life. I mean, everything. The people I hang out with, the way I talk, the just everything. And the moves that I'm making, on social media. I never thought that I would ever be in a place that I am today. I'm
Why?
such an inspiration for so many people, and I don't even know it. So I've changed everything about my life. It's not just one thing.
Okay.
It's a bunch of little things.
Okay. Well, give me one change that's benefited you the most.
Being sober.
Small victories.
Yes.
Okay. So, Savannah, what is the most beneficial change you've made in your life since you've been trying to get the mental health and the other stuff in order?
Standing up for myself, putting myself first, honestly, because that was such a big part of why my mental health was so bad, is because I was constantly putting other people's feelings and their wants and their needs and making myself small. It led me to make some really bad choices, like some really bad choices. It blew up my marriage. It ruined some relationships. But being my dad's daughter, I can say this: it's not what you did, it's what you do after.
Absolutely.
Because I cheated on my husband, I can't take that back. I could take accountability for it. My brain, like, it sounds like an excuse, but my dad knows knows me. When something traumatic happens to me, my brain blocks it out. My brain's like, you're not dealing with that. You can't handle that. It's like it never happened. So when he told me I cheated, I was like, no, I didn't. And he's like, why are you lying? I was like, I'm not lying. It's because my brain couldn't comprehend it. And once I came to terms with that, I was in therapy, and I admitted it to him. I was like, I was in a really, really dark place, and something that made, like, just because it made sense to me don't mean it's going to make sense to you, and I can't take it back. But all I can do is try to be a better person. So it's what I did after. I got myself in therapy. I go to therapy every 2 weeks. I take accountability. I take my meds. But I also put myself first, because a big part of focusing on your mental health, no, you don't have to be rude to people, but you don't have to let people walk all over you. And a big
Absolutely.
part of it was I would let people treat me horribly. And then I would feel like I would be the one that needed to apologize. And I stopped doing that. And honestly, doing that has been protecting my peace. And it has made it easier to, how I explain, when did you do drugs, it's because I was hurting. It was an escape. For me, I feel like I had this pressure building, building and building, like I'm a bomb that's fixing to, like, you're blowing up a balloon, and it's blowing and blowing, and it's fixing to explode until you slowly start letting that air out, and it slowly goes back down. That's what self-harming is for me. It's a release. And it gives me time to focus on actually sorting through what I'm going through, instead of, it's like someone stabs you. You're supposed to go and get it sewed up, get it treated, not just slap a Band-Aid on it. So instead of slapping a Band-Aid on it, I'm actually dealing with the wound. I'm coming to terms with why I am the way I am, taking accountability for the things that I've done, and just working every day to be a better person and be the mom and role model for my kids, because I got a 2-year-old daughter that looks towards me, and she's going to look at me on the way to act. And I want to show her that you don't have to be rude, but you also don't have to put up with things you don't want to put up with.
So
So
it's
I think my
finding.
biggest accomplishment is setting boundaries and standing 10 toes down on them, and not backtracking, not letting people guilt trip me into changing what I've already put down.
Okay. I can respect that. Oh, FYI, we can't see your face. I don't know if your camera's shut off or if it was this. You sound phenomenal, but it was like
I
it
see me.
removed. I don't see you. Do you see her, Barbara?
I don't see her.
All right. Well, let's see.
I see a circle with a
I know. I just
face
turned my
on.
camera off.
Now turn it back
Yeah,
on. See
turn it
what
back on.
happens.
Yeah. It's back on.
We don't
Can
see
you see
you.
that?
Nope.
Yeah, I can see that now.
All
Yep.
right.
I can see the car. Now I can see you.
Here we go.
You missed this beautiful face.
Not really, but I love that beautiful face. Okay, so here's a good question. And this is because I know you both well enough that this is a question that I'm going to answer when you're both done. So, Barbara, how have your dreams or your sense of purpose evolved since getting to where you are right now?
Baby steps. I've taken some pretty huge steps. I don't expect for everything to change overnight. But I've taken some pretty miraculous, life-changing steps since I got sober and made big moves.
Yeah, I've been watching that.
There's about to be some bigger moves
Okay.
being made. So I think that's the best part about being on this journey, is seeing the growth even over the last 4 months.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm very proud of
Oh,
you.
that reminds me. I'm 120 days sober.
120 days. So hold on. Let me see that thing. How many days sober are you again?
120.
Woo woo. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Woo woo. Bad B word alert. Whoop, 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 whoop.
I'm very, very proud of you, sis. Because
Thank you.
it's not as easy as a lot of people make it sound. But sometimes
Right.
the dream of being sober is a dream until you create a pathway to make it a reality. So Savannah, how have your dreams or sense of purpose evolved since getting to where you are now?
You know, back when I wasn't really focusing on my mental health, my number one goal was just survive. That was it. It was just survive. And now it has adjusted to, you know, being in that coma last year left me disabled. So, I've had to adjust my expectations of what the way my life's going to look. I go to the doctor twice a month now. I'm on a lot more meds. I can't do some of the things that I used to want to do. You know,
Mhm.
um, being in that coma left me permanently disabled. And like, yeah, I'll be able to do like odd and end jobs, but like actually holding a steady job and making a career, that's done and over. So I have adjusted my expectations of what my life's going to look like. And so my new goals are raise my kids to be good people. Um, be happy. Live, don't just survive, because surviving's not living. But most of all, it's give myself grace, because I am not a perfect person. I am a flawed person. But the difference between I'm not, crapping on anybody in the way they handle things, but I think a very big difference between me and a lot of people is I've been through some horrible things, and other people have been through some horrible things, but they're like, well, that's why I'm this way, you know, that's why I do the things that I do. And they use it as an excuse. I use it as drive, as a motivation. I'm like, I'm not going to be the same person. Like,
Mhm.
yes, what
They
happened
let
to
it
me was
define
terrible,
them.
but it's not gonna define me. It's not gonna run my life. I'm gonna take what happened to me, the anger, the sadness, the pain, the just everything, and I'm gonna turn it into drive, into fuel to keep
Amen.
going and to not be the same person and not repeat the cycle. So I think that's a big way that my goals have changed is I no longer want to survive, I want to live.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I like that. So, how has my dreams or sense of purpose evolved during my sobriety? So, you know, my mom, Elder Pat Thompson, has always talked about what'd she call it? Um, Trying to remember. She used to always say how I would be sitting up with the pastor at the bullpen, and people had prophesized about how I would be ministering to people and how I would be inspiring and motivating people. And I never saw that when I was in my addiction. I was good at hustling. Don't get that twisted. Oh boy, when it comes to psychological warfare, y'all are my playground, and I'm Sun Tzu, who wrote the Art of War. I'm good at it because I was good at manipulating and coercing people into stuff. But now that I've found what my purpose is, it's altered how I see my dreams. I actually have dreams to where I know I'm going to be successful. That's hands down. But my purpose is how I stand during the chaos and turmoil, to where I know I'm being tested, but I'm strong enough to make it through it, so I am worthy of the blessings that are waiting on the other end. Because Savannah knows me better than probably anyone walking the planet other than Amber. And if you would have gave me a 4-bedroom house, $60,000, and 2 vehicles when I was back in my addiction. But this whole block would have been high. Like, because I thought that was my purpose because I suffer from abandonment issues and childhood trauma. So I have this need to be accepted. And I thought my purpose was to find people who would acknowledge that I'm here and that I exist. And now I get to live my dream of living in my purpose of guiding people to sort of looking for guiding people to recovery, guiding people to a different lifestyle. An idea that this does not have to be your life anymore. You can actually be whatever you want to be because if you can imagine it, 9 times out of 10, you can make it happen. However, not all life is going to be like that. That's why I laugh when a lot of people sit there and say, hey, man, I done changed. I did a whole 360. So you turned around in a circle and were going in the same direction you were going when you were in your addiction? Or what about, hey, I altered my path a little bit. I still want to be successful. I still want to inspire people. But now I don't have to use drugs to do it. Now I have a platform to where I can surround myself with like-minded individuals who are trying to use their lived experience to bring joy to another person's life. And I'm a firm believer that if you can not just save a life, but inspire a life to be better, guess what happens? You have fulfilled your purpose. Because I never thought this was going to be my job. Come on now, working with a bunch of arrested people and people in addiction, and I don't even like talking to people. But I find myself I'm serious. Like, I'm the type of person that my favorite saying is say less. Like, Amber will call me and I'm like gone in 60 seconds. I need this conversation to be quick, to the point. However, sometimes I'm learning that it's not about it going my way, but the way that's best for everybody. So sometimes I have to decrease in order for Savannah to increase. Sometimes Barbara has to decrease herself from the situation so that somebody else can increase their either belief system or this, that, and the other. And finding that steady medium, man, that's by far the coldest lick right there. And I've hit some licks in my day. I used to Jackie Chan out of windows with 42-inch screen TVs and people not even knew. I'm talking about I was a goon. I used to steal people's stuff, not only steal their stuff, help them look for their stuff, and then sell their stuff back to them like it's mine. I was a goon. I'm dead serious. So me finding purpose in this life that I'm living right now has fulfilled a dream. Not to be acknowledged, not to be worshipped, but just sit there and say, thank you for what you've done in my life. Thank you for showing me that recovery is possible. Thank you for inspiring me that hope still exists, because dreams without goals are nothing but dreams. But when you're able to walk in your existence and set this goal, this goal, this goal. When I was still detained before I got my charges fixed, I told the place that you were going to come back and hire me to do this job. And that was my dream. Now that I've reached my dream, how am I going to live in it? And I think that's what gave me my purpose, because my dreams done evolved into living in my purpose. And I'm blessed because I get to watch so many people do it. I've seen Barbara start her thing. This girl dang near got 10,000 followers. That's a whole lot of people. Because you know what that means, right? That means that every time you say something or do something, you're inspiring 10,000 people. And
I know, crazy.
then I got my clone down here who inspires me every day to be better. Because trust and believe, all of this right here, that's one of the reasons why this right here works. Because I know I can't do this on my own. I'd be academically regressed to think that I could. So I found somebody in my life who I trust that knows how to do this to a point to where I can live out my dreams while she lives in her purpose. Tell me that ain't again.
Right. Because like growing up, with my dad being gone, struggling in his addiction. And I love my mom, but my mom had her own issues. And so I never saw myself as a mom. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be a mom. I ain't having kids. I ain't no bringing no kids into this world. I would mess my kids up if I had kids. Like, I'm messed up. I'm going to mess them up. So it was never my dream to have a kid. And being 21, giving birth to this little 3-pound baby during a global pandemic. And I just looked at him and I knew in that moment that my goals had changed. My goal was to raise this little baby and give him a better childhood than I had. And then I turned around and had my daughter. And being a woman in today's society sucks. No, dude, I'm telling you right now. Ask my dad, Barbara. When I found, because I did a blood test that told me Lily was a boy. When I got to my anatomy scan and I found out she was a girl, I called my dad. I'm like, yo, so I was wrong. She's a girl. He starts laughing. He's like, yo, you gonna pay for that attitude of yours. And I have. Oh, I have. That girl's scary. I'll be the first to admit I'm scared of that little girl. No. When I got in this car accident yesterday, right? This man, like he felt really bad. Like he's apologizing. He gets down on one knee and he apologizes to my kids. He goes, I'm really sorry that I ruined y'all Sunday. I'm sorry I broke your mommy's car. My daughter's gonna walk up to this man and she gonna hug him and she gonna pat his back and she goes, it's okay. And then she goes, don't let it happen again. I'm like, girl, I need you to calm it down. And
You can't make this up. I'm dead serious. You cannot make this up.
she's everything that I never knew I needed, but everything I've ever wanted. She challenges me and she pushes me to strive to be a better person. And so does my son. My son's autistic. So he don't mean to be, but he a butthead. It's the way he looks at things because he sees things differently than we see them. He walks up to this lady in Walmart and he wasn't being mean, but he's like, why are you fat? And I'm like, dude. And he goes, but it's just question. I'm like, I get that, but there's certain things we don't ask people, okay? And he's like, does that mean that I hurt her feelings? I was like, yes, Bubba. And he looks at her and he goes, I'm sorry you're fat and I hurt your feelings. I'm like, yeah, okay. Get out of the store. We're leaving. I don't need groceries no more.
So
And he keeps me on my toes. And now my goal is to raise them to be good people, to be the people that are going to change this world. Because if you told me, you read my palm and told me your daughter's going to be the ruler of earth, I'd believe you. Oh, I'd bet money on it. She's like, we're getting rid of presidents, queens, monarchs, all that. I'm going to rule this earth and you're going to deal with it. If you told me that about my daughter, oh, I'd believe you. I believe you. She crazy. Dude, she was over at my dad's house Friday night stealing his noodles. Just stealing his noodles. And she's like, that looks good. And he's like, I know it's mine. She goes, yeah. She's going to take a bite. She goes, these are good. And he goes, I bet they are. They're mine. And having them has adjusted my perspective. Like as my dad said, we have a mutual respect for one another. It was touchy at first because he would try to be my dad like I was still a kid. And I was like, look, I love you. I'm glad you're sober, but I am no longer a kid. I have kids of my own. We're gonna have to adjust our relationship because you can't parent me. You can be a parent, like a grown up parent, like I'm struggling in my everyday life with my mental health, with my kids, and you can be an ear, someone to give advice. But I'm not that little girl anymore. Like, unfortunately, and I'm not, blaming, like, I'm not trying to make him feel bad, but unfortunately, that little girl that he remembers, she's grown up now. She don't need a daddy. She don't need someone to be her daddy, but she needs a father. She needs someone to be a shoulder to lean on. When my dad pulled up and, the cop walked away from me, I just fell into him because it felt like I could finally breathe, that I was going to be okay because my dad moved heaven and earth to get to me. And, growing up and him struggling the way he did, I never even knew if I was going to have a father in my adulthood. I was so afraid of just getting the call one day that he was dead because he was making so many bad choices. And now to know that he moved heaven and earth to get to me, to get to my kids, I can honestly say that I'm thankful, really thankful. I thank the Lord every day that something finally gave, that he got sober. Because when I called my dad, like he had just gotten arrested, and I called him like 3 weeks later. He goes, "What's going on?" I was like, I had your grandson 8 weeks early," and he just cried. He started sobbing, he's like, "I can't believe that you went through that alone." And I like to think that that helped push him to be who he needed to be, that he wanted to be the role model for my son. He wanted to be there for me because he never really got the capability growing up because he was struggling so much. I'm tearing up over here. Sorry. I have these things called
Don't worry, so
feelings.
am I.
I have these things called feelings. They're inconvenient.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful every day. And I thank the Lord above, especially since I've been really getting back in touch with my religion. And every day I pray and I thank him for finally getting my dad on the right path, because thinking, growing up as a little girl, the first man you're supposed to trust is your dad. He's the one that's supposed to protect you and teach you how men are supposed to treat you and how the world's supposed to work, and unfortunately, I didn't have that with my dad. So I grew up making bad decisions, letting men use me for my body or what I could do for them. And, I had daddy issues, but now seeing the man he is and the way he carries himself, I made a choice to find someone who sees me for me, who's not perfect but is flawed, but knows they're flawed and is striving to be better. You know what I mean? Because Barbara, my dad walked up to Blaine yesterday and he grabbed him by his hand and he goes, "You have earned my respect because you kept it together and you kept my family safe. You protected my daughter and my grandbabies and you never broke. You made sure that they could break and you stood strong." And it like this man don't do confrontation, okay? He stays in his own lane, but this man would burn down the planet for me. And watching my dad become the man he is now has helped me realize that I deserve a man who loves me and who's going to work with me, not against me. I'm over here preaching like my father now. Dang. Like father, like
No,
daughter.
that's your Nana Pat right there.
Oh, yeah, hey, but that's your mama. So like mother, like son, like daughter.
Yeah, yeah. So, there's always a story. A lot of people forget sometimes that everybody wants to get to the happily ever after. Everybody wants to get to the happy ending. The happy ending doesn't mean nothing if you don't understand the struggle. And that's one reason why I say I'm so proud of both of y'all, is because, what is it with what you got going on, Barbara? That's not easy. You know what I mean? And Savannah, I mean, I'm your dad at saying that. I mean, but I want you both to know that from my standpoint, not only as a father, but as I can't believe I'm going to say this, but as an elder in the 50s, that when I'm able to look at two people that I have inspired despite my mistakes in life, I find joy in the purpose in my walk, because it's like I told a couple of guys today, I'm good at psychological warfare. I mean, I'm like Dr. Evil with it. I can sit here and tell you the sky is purple with these three credible facts backed up and then go buy some beachfront property. I am that good. Like I'm something with it. However, I love the fact that it's not what I'm saying that inspires you. It's the context and the intent. I don't want anybody to ever have been life, but trust and believe it's called for you to improve. I'm gonna sit there and watch you hit rock bottom. I'm going to be the first person you see when it's time to get up, because I'm a firm believer we all have our things to go through in life, and it's not my job to try to tell you how to live your life. It's just my job to help inspire you while you're in your walk, to motivate you, to give you strength to do what you're needing to do, and to hopefully, through the grace of God, help you make it through your walk. Because I'm blessed to have the same people helping me, because I'm lucky to be following a guy that follows a guy that's following another guy that's following his path set by his higher power. And I'm blessed in that. I guess we lost sis. I was wondering what all the echoing was for, but it's all good. So it's about time anyway. We got off to a rocky start. I love you.
I love you. This was a good
That's,
sesh. It was really nice to do this with you.
I appreciate it. Well, we got the couch session coming up pretty soon, and hopefully, you'll have it set up to where everybody will be on Wi-Fi, and we could just do this. Because here's the thing: I'm a firm believer when two or more are there, there he shall be. And there she is. Hopefully, let's see. I thought we had lost her for a second. Welcome back.
Well, this is where I need to get off because it is
Thank
7:03 and
you.
my
You
kids
guys
are
are
supposed to be
lagging
in
really
bed. So
bad.
I gotta go be a mom.
All right, baby. We love you and
Love you
thank
guys
you for
too.
sitting
Thank you
in.
for having me. I had a great time.
All right, baby. Go take care of my
Thank you for
grandbaby.
being
So we've got to get this situated, sis.
here.
We got
Yes,
to find a way to
absolutely.
get this data thing sold. But I really enjoyed today because it's easy to inspire other people, but when you get a chance to talk about the people who inspire you, it hits a
Right.
little different. Because I'm so phenomenally blessed that my other daughter told me to get a hold of you, because you have been a wonder, not only for my journey, but truthfully for my family. I'm blessed that I get to call you family, and you're stuck with me now. You're stuck with me, Amber, and the kids and everybody now. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so
I'm blessed to call you family too.
well, I'm glad. So, we're gonna go ahead and end it today. So, as
All
always, what
right.
do we say, sis? What do we say?
Stay blessed, stay focused, stay sober, but most of all, stay unchained.
You are the goat, sis. All right, you all have a blessed day, and thank you all for joining us.
1,